that out. Okay. 30-day shields. You have to buy those, don't you? I've got a couple of them. You can buy them. You could do the longer shields and just put up like week-long shields. Some people do that. They're just like, you know what? Other people are just like, I'm fed up with this pay-to-play game, and everybody, you know, every time they put out new content, it's always you have to buy 3 or 4 things, and I'm tired of it, which is also an understandable pain point for some people. So, but yeah, if you're just taking breaks are good. It's good to take a break every once in a while and just you know enjoy outside life. Yeah, one of our guys quit the other day, and he was like, I'm done. I'm never playing this game again." He cashed in all his tokens and everything too, so he had like 62 billion par steel and like 2 billion tritanium and like 2 billion dilithium. He's like, "Come drain my base." And we're like, even with our amalgams and stuff like that, we're getting 30, 40 million a scoop, but it's all par steel. We're just like, oh my god, it's gonna take us forever to get to the tritanium and the dilithium. After a couple hours, we got them down, like 5 or 10 billion. We were just like, all right, just bubble. We'll come back and do it a couple days later. Because yeah, it takes even with the amalgams, it takes a really long time. Alliance store, 30-day shields. No, you can only get 7-day shields in the Alliance store. That's as far as you can go. You can get a bunch of 7 days for if you had the tokens for 1100 apiece. But if you want the bigger shields, I'm pretty sure you got to buy them. They're down here. Hey, ships that I don't care about, primes that I refuse to buy. Advanced Peace Shield Pack. Nope, these are 3 days. Yeah, maybe it's in the Ultra Pack. Hey, there you go. It's in the Ultra Pack. You can get a 30-day shield for $100, along with a bunch of 2-star resources. Because the people quitting the game who want the 30-day shields, or the people taking a break from the game, are the same people who would benefit from 2-star resources. Come on, man. There are things I love about this game. There are things I like about this game. There are things I don't like about this game. Right now, the first half still outweighs the second half. And then obviously, there's the time commitment and whatnot. That sunk cost that you can just never get back. So, about 2 years in, I basically started a month after COVID because I needed a new game to play. I was like, all right, well, what's this Star Trek game I hear about? And here we are. Yeah, they always find a way. Scopely's always going to find a way to make money off this game. Whether it's charging you for officers, charging you for ships. The fact that there are still officers in the game that the only way to get them is to buy them still baffles me. Like they haven't done an event that gave out Harrison shards in quite a long time. Occasionally he pops up in the store every month or two. You can buy him for I don't know, I think it was like $50 maybe. Um, and then you've got all of Pike's crew, the Shakedown crew guys. The only way to get those guys, and they're not really that great. They're really basic beginner officers. They have a few little their moments where they're useful. Darwin, Hadley, Hendorf, Leslie. Like Leslie's the one I think I see people using every once in a while. As long as the ship's hull health is under 35% its value at the beginning of combat, he restores it by 5% at the end of each round. So if you're doing like, I see people use him like sometimes in like Eclipse Armadas where they don't hit very hard and the fights go on a very long time. He can kind of restore a little bit of your health to kind of drag the fight out a little bit. And then obviously you've got this guy who also could boost your mitigation a little bit. Less important there because obviously all your mitigation with the Stella comes through your research. Hadley, Darwin, warp speed, make you go faster. Yeah, we've got enough of that stuff. And Darwin, when the ship is attacked by a player, he increases the weapon damage by 10%. Also not that great. But these guys only come up in a pack that you have to pay like 20 bucks for. And Tal, I don't think I've ever seen Tal. I don't even know where Tal comes from. I'm sure there's a way to source him. So, a pack you had to buy him in or something. But increases the weapon damage of the ship against battleships by 20%. As long as the opponent's ship is burning, he decreases its hull health by 5% each turn. That's why they don't put Tal in the game anymore, huh? They took him out because this was ridiculous. You just load up on mitigation and burning. It's an officer ability, so you just chunk off 5% of these giant whale ships that have 100 million health. Now they're losing 5 million a hit, 5 million a turn. Yeah, that's why they took Tal out. Okay. I knew there was a guy that they didn't really source very well. That would be why. Looks like we're probably going to get attacked here soon. Just a hunch. Do-do-do. Name. Alphabetical. We're just going to do that for quick base defense. Because just briefly glancing at my alliance chat, like I said, the largest player on our server who's declared like a two-man war on us with another guy. Basically, the only way to skirt the rules of going rogue per our rules of engagement was for the two of them to form a two-man alliance and then declare war. So they're rogue. It's really what they are, but they found a loophole in the rules of engagement and they exploited it. So kudos to them for doing that. But let's call it what it is. They're rogue players. Um, they hit all our miners on a regular basis, and lately they've been coming through attacking our bases and stuff. Just if it's unshielded, his 130 million ship just comes through and just hits everything. He doesn't even raid it. He just most of the time he just attack, attack, attack. Destroy all your ships, destroy your defense platforms, and then move on. Programmer probably misplaced a decimal point. Say what part again? About rogue players? The loophole, yeah. So if you're one guy and you just decide to go run around and kill everybody's miners when they're not OPC or anything, and just be a total douche, you'd be declared a rogue player, and then any alliance that you wanted to try and join later, there'd be like a negotiation. It's like if you just tried to join the alliance, then like the people who are mad at you would just declare war on that alliance and like kill everybody. So then nobody would want to take you in. So there's, our server has like a rules about that, and then there's like a rehab process where you have to like apologize and try and pay back some of the resources that you cost people. It's like rogue therapy, rehab therapy that they make you go through for like a 30-day trial period. Um, but the loophole around that is if you get two d bags together, form your own alliance, and then just declare war on the people that you hate. Um, well, then you can just run around and kill whatever you want, and it's legal because you're an alliance and you declared war. So then you can run around and kill whatever you want, and you don't need a reason to declare war, and you don't need to ever try and come up with any terms to try and end that war. You can just run around and destroy anything you want, and it's technically considered legal because you're at war and you're not a rogue player. So if you ever do decide later, that you want to go back to another alliance to actually like complete armadas or events or things like that, uh, then you get to skip the whole rehab process. Hypothetically, probably still going to end up getting the new alliance declared war on, but at least in theory, that would be a way around it. You guys have something similar, but your whale alliance just has a list of permanent KOS players. Yeah, yeah, that we have a short list as well on our server of players who are just, they've been uh, a douche far too long, so uh, nobody really wants to work with them anyway. But yeah, yeah, some people just the only enjoyment they get out of the game, and I get it too. When you spend $10,000 a month playing this game, like some of these guys do, which is how you get to level 59, um, and you buy everything when it comes out and max everything when it comes out. You know, this guy's got a max Devore already. How did he get that? Well, he bought it. He spent, you know, 500-600 bucks and just whatever, bought the packs, bought the parts, sped through the upgrade process, and he's got, a maxed Fuchsia, a maxed Amalgam, a maxed whatever it is when it comes out, to get all the way up there. You know, what are you going to do then? There's nothing left for you to do. So you get bored and you have to kind of smack around people who are smaller than you because everybody's smaller than you at that point. So I get that you need to avoid the boredom, but at the same time, you could, actually just progress through the game at a regular pace like everybody else, or most everybody else does, and not always want to be the first to have everything and, bust out the black card to pay for it. But to each their own, man. If he's got the money to afford it, kudos to him. Whatever he did or does still to be able to afford this type of gaming style, awesome. If I were him and I had all that going, I'd be streaming constantly. Like, hey, check out what I just got. Way to supplement that income. Show off all these new ships. This big 100 million, 150 million new ship. Honestly, the only thing that's holding him back from having bigger ships is his faction rep. You got to do all the faction grinding to get some of the higher end ships, to get that Enterprise D or whatever. Otherwise, he'd already have one of them. Middle of the pack player. Yeah, being in the middle is good. You're not quite. It's hard sometimes to get into armadas. I'll admit that because either you want to do some of the deep space armadas, but you're not quite like you're the guy who usually gets pushed out, or maybe you're like the fifth or sixth guy in one of those spots. And if enough people show up, sometimes you get bumped out, and then it's like, oh well, I'll go back and do the level 39, 38 and 39 armadas with some of the smaller guys, and it's like, well, now you're taking all our credits, so now we're going to star you out to star in some of the lower people. So there's that. There's always that in between point where you're too big to play with the little kids and you're too little to play with the big kids. Um, it's when you just end up setting some of the targets sometimes, until you can grow out of it. There's always that that growing pain spot every time you kind of hit a new gap, a new tier. But eventually you move up a little bit, or you just be the guy who brings the right officers. Having Troy has gotten me into more than a few running Troy, Beverly, Lorca as a crew. I'm bringing minus no crit hits, and I'm putting hull breach on the Armada target to boost everybody's crit damage, sometimes that right there will get you a star to star you into an alliance, into an Armada. So it's kind of another way around things, making yourself more valuable, even if you're going to die early on and not bringing a whole lot of muscle to the fight. You bring in the right officers to the fight, you improve your worth. Where are we at here? All right, we're halfway through 32, so we're moving along. Moving along. Get to 35 and unlock another officer slot, I think. But that may have to wait for tomorrow, because it looks like I got some stuff coming up here. And we just a little over an hour so far. Just make sure I'm not missing any Discord updates here. Nope. Okay, good. See if he's... Yeah. Looks like he's hanging out again. And we've got a few ships floating around. Was he here? That was 5 minutes ago. He's gone, I guess. He might be a little mad at us too, because a couple of our guys stole 2 trillion resources from him the other day. They were getting 8 billion resource scoops with their maxed amalgams off his base that had like 8 or 9 trillion sitting in it. We got like 2 trillion off of them. Persistence pays off sometimes. Let's look at the old Ferengi calendar, see what we got coming up here in the next couple days. What we got for Valentine's Day? That's the wrong one. I wonder if we'll get a special Valentine's theme additional event. Because I don't see... You've got the Ferengi Love Songs one. Work with your alliance to complete events and reap the rewards this holiday. Okay. See what those rewards are. Probably some female officers, right? But lust and latinum. Spend the day mining latinum, and you get overflowing with riches. So mine latinum, get more latinum. Okay. That is very true. Persistence will always pay off, because if you keep persisting till you win. That is very true. Riker and Troy. Yeah, I think we had that last year. It was Picard, Beverly, and Riker or Troy, and like you kind of got to pick between them or something like that. Some type of event there. That sounds familiar. Or did we vote on them or something? For who our favorite couple was? Data and Tasha. It would be nice to have other ways to source data shards, because he's currently one of the few officers that there isn't really a direct path to. I still don't have him unlocked, because pretty much the only way to get him right now is through the one away team mission, and that requires uh, the first mud to have his abilities unlocked to get data shards. I'm speculating, and only speculating, that when they do their next update, probably in a couple months, to the transporter patterns area, that data may be the officer that they add there. And it may be Picard, but they might put data in there just to give you a way to source him because he's not in any of the packs. He's only in the away team missions right now. And his ability is good. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not, you know, like breaking the bank good. Where is he? There he is. When fighting armadas, he increases the critical hit chance by 17%. That's great. Do a whole lot more crits to armadas. Pair him up then with, hull breach officers that add damage when doing crits and things like that. And then when fighting non-player targets, increases armor piercing, shield piercing, and accuracy by 60%. So that would also be a big boost as well. Getting through the mitigation on stuff too. So, all right, so I take it back. Data is a really good officer. Um, I can understand why they sort of slow rolled him a little bit, but it's time to put a more direct path to acquire him in the game. Yeah, other than that, we'll kind of just limp through this month. We'll unlock these Ferengi officers. We'll see what types of resources. They're probably just going to keep giving us more Latinum and things like that, or Davo tokens as rewards, and then we'll pick our own prizes and wrap up February, and then we'll be excited for like Crucible of War at the end of the month and faction hunts, just to give us something different to do. I can only imagine what they're going to do for stage 2 and stage 3 of this arc, though. It seems really limited. I can't picture like a path to development here like you had with the other arcs. Having started after TOS and Disco arcs, it really is a grind for those officers. Yeah, at least it's definitely a grind to unlock them, but at least they did create, where is it, recruit tab, a path to get them. The Discovery guys have their own chest where you can get most of them, and a couple of the Terran officers as well. Um, and then you get these, along with your disco stuff. Maxing out your disco is also a huge benefit to that refinery. And then in your Ultra Refinery, you did get some TUS and Next Gen officers in the most recent update a couple months back. Putting a chunk of the officers in there. Not all of them are in this pack. Like Picard and Data are not in here. Spock is not in here. They did add Spock to the transporter patterns, though. So you can source Spock that way. Spock's also in a mission, as you saw earlier, that in the away team store, or away team missions as well. But yeah, they're a little bit more difficult to source, but at least there is a way. For a while there, it was like, if you didn't get the TOS officers during that event, that was it. We went like 6 months, and it was like, there's no way to get more shards for these officers. So the guys who had a tier 3 or tier 4 Uhura, compared to the guys who only had like a tier 1 Uhura, had a huge advantage in PvP conflicts. So it's there, and I don't mind Scopely kind of doing it this way. You know, there's not an easy path there, but there is a path before you. When there's no path at all, or the only path is to spend money, that's where I have That's where I have problems. There shouldn't be a pay for, anything else other than to accelerate. You want to speed something up? Great. You want to get extra? Great. Use your money and buy more. But if the only way to ever get something is to pay for it, well, that's not really, a great benefit, a great service to your gaming community that you have. But there's my rant. So, all right, I have a TC fight coming up here in a couple minutes. So we're gonna wrap this up, head back to base. I'm gonna take a short break for a few minutes before that timer starts in about 10-15 minutes. I do want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching this live on Twitch. Really enjoyed the engagement in the chat as always. If you're watching this on YouTube, of course, make sure to like and follow there, and then pop over to Twitch and follow me there so you get notifications when I go live for events and stuff. But I hope you guys had a great night. I know I had fun doing this, and I'll be back in a couple days. We'll do some more live streaming. But until then, see you around the galaxy, guys.